My name is Shannon Nix. I'm from Oxnard, California.
Did you receive sex ed in middle school?
I did not receive sex ed in middle school, and it was more of a health class freshman year of high school that we talked about sexual education for one day.
So, hi, my name's Jennifer Ortiz. I am a fourth year at UCSC, and I'm originally from Los Angeles. I went to Southeast High School at LA, part of the LAUSD district. And then I went to Southeast Middle School and Stanford Elementary School. And from elementary school in fifth grade, I distinctly remember my mom not signing the permission slip for me to see the puberty video or whatever that it was. So that was pretty interesting, being sheltered from this, like, it happens to everyone. That's the crazy part for me, at least. So I didn't learn about like puberty or like the changes that happen to your body and everything until middle school. And I kind of remember, let's see, middle school, it was during health or something like that. And I think it was like in sixth grade. And it was very general. It was just more about like the reproductive system instead of sex. So even then, I knew what sex was because of like my sister and my friends, and like you really didn't. At least I didn't learn from actual educator or like someone like I would say that is actually educated in these kind of fields. Instead, you just kind of hear by like people your own age, and it's kind of dumb. But that's my opinion. So here comes high school, and I was taught by this really great teacher. I still remember her name. It's Miss Montes, she was a badass. Like, she did not care what the school district told her or like what the rubric was or anything. She was like, look, you guys are gonna do stuff. I'm not gonna stop you. Like, it's gonna happen. So, and she like just like whipped out a condom. She was like, don't let anybody ever tell you that any condom is like too small for them. So she literally had these really long nails. And she just like placed it on her hand, and she just kept going, and like she extended it all the way down her arm, like to her elbow. And she was just like, you see, she would like stretch her hand, like going back and forth. She's like, it doesn't rip. Like, don't let anybody tell you that they can't wear a condom. She was just so like sassy, but also just like, you know, like girls like looking at us, because she knows, like, especially she was someone that I could look up to because she was Hispanic, she was female, and she was educated like near where I grew up. So it was like really powerful to see someone just be like, you know, you have a voice too. And it was really nice. So what are the other questions?
So my name is Jorge, and then I'm from Oakland.
Did you receive any sex ed in middle school or in high school?
Yeah, so did receive that in starting sixth grade. So like in Oakland, there's a like local clinic called La Clínica de la Raza, and they did a lot of programs through sex ed. So I was like very involved with that from sixth grade all the way to high school. But in like at school, like it was not very like promoted, at least in middle school. And then in high school there was a lot of programs, and they did promote like just whatever. They gave us all the options. They told us all the options that like we had.
What kind of option?
Just like using condoms or like using the pill. Or abstinence, stuff like that. Yeah.
Would you say that they promoted abstinence, or would you say it was like more like to your choice?
It was more to your choice, and like I think they're younger people like teaching it, so they like definitely understood, like, you know, people do have sex in high school, and that's fine, but as long as you're being safe about it.
My name is Lauren Myers, and I'm from San Francisco.
Did you receive sex ed in middle school or in high school?
I did. My first sex ed class was actually in fifth grade, because that's when girls started getting their periods, but we didn't really talk about sex. It was just puberty and stuff like that. In middle school, in sixth and seventh and eighth grade, I remember like someone would come in for like a day, maybe even an hour, and just talk about sex, but we were in middle school, no one really took that seriously. But in eighth grade, sexual reproduction was part of my biology class. So I definitely learned a lot there.
Did you learn about different types of contraception?
Yeah, when the people came and talked about sex, yes. But again, we weren't really paying attention. In 8th grade was where we got the whole lowdown of everything, and we was quizzed on it, and because it was part of our curriculum. So yeah.
When you say the whole lowdown, is it like the whole demonstration on like how to put on
No
a
demonstrations.
condom?
No demonstrations.
So did they teach you how to put on a condom?
They told us,
Uh-huh.
but no visuals, if that's what
Yeah.
your question was. Yeah.
Okay.
My name is Nick Neese. I'm from San Diego originally, in East County, so kind of like the suburbs of San Diego.
Did you receive any sex ed?
Yes, I did. I think I received it in 6th grade, but that was it.
That was it?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you learned anything?
I mean, I kind of did, but I think everyone kind of took it as a joke more. It was something kind of just to laugh around with, not really to talk about seriously. I think everyone kind of wanted to talk about it, but no one really did, other than when we were in class.
What did they cover?
So we talked about, actually no, we did do it in 8th grade as well, but I know we watched videos about childbirth. I know we talked about STDs, and we did talk about contraceptives and things like that. So it wasn't an abstinence-only program, but I don't feel like I learned a lot, especially now being gay. It didn't really cover that at all.
Yeah, I grew up in San Francisco. My name is Sabina Wildsman.
Did you receive any sex ed?
Yes, I did, under the name of like health. So it was like a part of our health classes.
Was this in high school?
Yeah, in high school. And like it was probably just like a month or two. I definitely remember talking a lot about STDs and STIs, which of course gives you kind of like the concerns having to do with being sexually active. They did talk a little bit about contraception, mostly just condoms. That's all I remember. I don't remember like hearing about other like birth control methods.
Did they actually demonstrate it, or did they just?
I think they did. Honestly, I was only taking health to like satisfy it. I wasn't actually like caring about it or listening about it, and I didn't think it would actually be helpful for me. But I definitely. Yeah, it was in health ed. Health ed was a class that was like half of a year. And I actually took it over the summer to satisfy it. It was like a short couple-week period to take it. Yeah.
Hi, my name's Eric. I grew up in Arizona originally, and currently I live in Northern California in Marin County.
So did you receive sex ed in middle school and high school, or just
In middle school and high school, my sex ed was abstinence. So basically, a group came to my middle school, and they basically just kind of sat us down during our PE classes, had lots of slideshows up. Of course, they showed the fear of STDs and everything to try to keep everybody away from it, and that was most of my sex education through high school and middle school.
Was it just a day?
It was 3 days, I believe.
3 days. Did they actually teach you anything?
They taught us mostly about the horrors of STDs, mostly.
So did they cover the types of contraceptives?
They did not cover any types of contraceptives. It was abstinence.
So they didn't.
They were just like, oh, what do you need to learn if you're not going to have sex? So that's what they were
So
like.
no talk about condoms, no
Not
talk
a thing.
about birth control.
Most of that did not happen to me until probably my senior year of high school, actually, where I had to do a mandatory health class. In Arizona, there was no such thing for high school, but in California, you have to take at least a quarter or a semester of health, and so that's like the only time that I learned about some contraceptives, and then a lot more as I came to UC Santa Cruz.
Do you feel like it it promoted abstinence, or do you feel that it was actually being addressed for someone who is sexually active?
I think up until high school, it was a lot of abstinence. It was a lot of like the safest sex, or like the safest way to practice sex is to have no sex until marriage or whatever, which was also like growing up in a very religious household. That was like something that was just like told to you, like you don't have sex. And like it wasn't until high school that it was just like, hey, there's such a thing as a condom, or like, and then she even had like 3 people within our classroom demonstrate with a banana, which was like really funny because like it's a classic banana, but like actually like, here, do you know how to put a condom on? She would like put you on the spot and like just like hand you the banana, hand you the condom, and she would just be like, go for it. And like a lot of people would be like, just put it on, and would forget to do the pinch. So she's like, see, you didn't pinch. And then it was more of a like very structured. It like took away the embarrassing, and like people stopped laughing after a while and just actually paid attention, which made it seem more like this is serious. This is something that people like, get diseases from and get infections and like, be safe and blah, blah, blah. So that was pretty cool. What's another question?
Did you feel like you actually learned anything?
I did. I felt like I learned one, how to say no, because a lot of times she was like, I think something that was really important is like you can say no, even if you're like 1 inch away, you can say no. And it was just so like this idea of consent and everything hadn't taken off the way it's taken off today, I think. And she was one of those first people that was like, no, you have a voice and you have a right. And it was just very like, yeah, I feel like because of her, not necessarily the education system, I was able to learn about sex ed in a positive way. But it was more about the educator rather than like the curriculum and everything.
But you said that like they taught you how to like use condoms and contraception. Would you say that they actually taught it correctly?
Yeah, I think they did. They would do a lot of demos, like with like the banana or like something, and then there was also programs where like we would go around and like teach other kids like that were like 9th grade or 10th grade when we were older about it, and then we would pass out condoms around.
Do you think you actually learned anything?
I think for like my own personal like experience, I learned a little bit, but because I'm gay myself, they didn't really teach about gay sex or safe sex or how to be clean when you're like having gay sex. So they did lack on that. So it was very like geared towards like heterosexual sex. Yeah.
And that's basically it.
Cool.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Do you want to add anything?
Do you want to add anything?
I was just that mainly when like people talk about like safe sex or sex in general, it's always like heterosexual sex, and then they don't really talk about like sex could just be like masturbation or stuff like that. Like there's a lot of different options, and not just like vagina or like penis going into a vagina. There's so much more. Yeah. Cool.
So did they address being sexually active or did they promote abstinence?
They were very unbiased, very objective. I don't remember them promoting anything. They just wanted to make sure that we had all the information that we needed. But they never said don't have sex. And they never said have sex right now.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And you said that someone came into your classroom like for a day.
Yeah.
Were they qualified? Or do you?
They were probably part of an organization, but I don't remember them having a good command over a classroom of middle schoolers. So not fully qualified, no.
Okay. So do you feel like you actually learned anything?
Not from those people, but I definitely feel like I learned something
So would you say
in
you learned
class.
more, from your
in class from my teacher. Yeah.
Okay. So that's basically it, unless you want to like address anything else or do you have anything else to say?
No, I mean, it continued kind of in 9th and 10th grade, but I don't remember anything past that.
So would you
Which
say
is
that you had a
interesting.
good experience with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say, yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. So what did you think you learned, or what did they teach you about?
So we talked about STDs. We talked about some contraceptives, and we learned about childbirth. I think they showed us like a childbirthing video, and I remember a lot of people from previous years and then from future years talked about how they did a demonstration with a banana and a condom, but they didn't do that for our grade, and so it was almost like deterring a little bit because I expected it, and so when I didn't get that experience, I was like, okay, well, I guess I won't find out.
So that's basically all the questions, but so you feel like you didn't benefit from it?
I feel like I didn't personally benefit just because like I was at that point I was in the closet but not sure about that, and so not learning anything about like being queer or anything in that way kind of pushed me off a little bit more because I didn't think that was natural because it wasn't covered.
Oh, also, this is another question, but do you feel like you learned from someone who was like educated enough to teach you about it?
So some of the program was covered by science-specific teachers when it was 8th grade, but in 6th grade they kind of just had, I think they had one teacher for the boys and one teacher for the girls, so it was separated too. and they weren't really, they covered science because they were multiple studies teachers, like 6th grade, but they didn't have any specific thing that would make them like more aware about sex ed, other than that they were adults. I don't know.
So do you feel like you actually learned anything?
I probably learned some things about like STDs and STIs and them being like scary and dangerous. But I don't think I learned anything in terms of like things that would like kind of like make people be more okay with being sexually active or like feel like comfortable engaging in it. And I definitely was like I had a lot of like incorrect ideas or misinformed about a lot of things relating to sex ed that didn't really get solved or addressed during the class.
So do
Yeah.
you feel like you actually learned from someone who is qualified to teach?
I feel like she was qualified to teach. Everyone liked her. We talked a lot about mental health actually, which was really important in health ed, and that was cool. That was like really unusual, I think. But we just didn't. Our sex ed was kind of like limited or unmemorable for me. But it could also have been that I wasn't really like interested in that at the time, so I wasn't really paying attention to it. So like right now when I'm taking a female phys class in college, it's much more helpful. Yeah.
Did they address being sexually active or did they promote abstinence?
Neither. I mean, they didn't really say like only do abstinence, but they didn't say like it's great to be sexually active. So they kind of played the middle ground where they assumed that people were going to be sexually active, which is important. So they didn't just say abstinence only, but they also like, I don't know, they didn't. I just don't remember much discussion or talk about it at all.
So that's it, unless you want to add anything else.
No, I think that's good, but I think that like sex education needs to like cover more things like about consent and everything and start at a younger age, because I know like studies show that like lowers the rates of like teen pregnancy and rape and assault, and so that's important. So we should have better sex ed.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Did you receive sex ed in middle school and high school?
I didn't receive it in middle school. It was more of a health class in freshman year of high school, where we only spent one day about sex ed, and it was mostly like, wear a condom, there's STDs out there, don't get pregnant.
So you learned about the different kinds of contraception? Or
No, we just learned condoms and birth control. That was about it.
Wait, birth control, like just the pill birth control?
Yep.
Right. Okay, did they actually demonstrate how to put on a condom?
They did not demonstrate. He was so uncomfortable talking about sex ed that like he started like saying like, yeah, just wear a condom, be safe. That was about it.
Was he qualified? Do you feel like he was qualified to teach?
It was his first year teaching, and he was the basketball coach. So it was just like he wasn't used to it, and then a lot of his basketball players were in there, so he just felt really uncomfortable talking about it.
So you said it was a class in high school? So
Yeah, it was health class, and we talked one day about sex ed.
Did you feel like you actually learned anything?
I feel like I didn't learn anything from him, but it was just like I know stuff just from friends and being around the community all the time. So it's just like I already knew the stuff, but he definitely didn't give me any more information about it.
So you would say it wasn't helpful?
No.
So did they address being sexually active or did they promote abstinence? Or was it neutral?
I think it was neutral. It's just pretty much like if you're gonna have sex, be safe about it. Yeah.
So you said like a group went into your middle school or high
Yep.
school? What group? Do you remember what group it was?
It was, I think it was some sort of church group. I'm not 100% positive on that. I just know that it was, my school sponsored it and they came in and did it like that.
So would you, obviously it was biased, but would you say that like it was abstinence?
helpful?
Yeah, would you say it was helpful?
I mean, it was just because it educated me on like the horrors of STDs and stuff, and how to like, not necessarily how to prevent those, the if you're gonna be sexually active or not. Mostly just like to avoid them at all costs by not having sex. I wouldn't say it's all that helpful because I mean, as a kid who is surrounded by the pressures of American culture of sex, I mean, like, and you don't know what you're doing, and they just tell you not to have it. That's kind of pretty difficult. And when you try it for your first time, you have absolutely no education behind it, you can be in a big trouble, or like something could happen and you're just not certain what's going on. The experience might not be good and it might turn you away. So definitely I would say to not teach abstinence, because it's just not that helpful in ways of being able to promote healthy sex. There it is.